This video is part of video tutorials dedicated to learning Microsoft Fabric. In the past few videos, we learned basics of Lakehouse and explored the different data ingestion tools. We also talked about Medallion architecture with its different zones. And in the last two videos, we looked into typical transformations that you can expect within different zones. So we talked about bronze transformations, silver and gold transformations. So my pipelines so far were static, where I hard-coded different variables and table names. In many cases, it's useful to have dynamics pipelines where you can supply parameters values on based on current values. So examples could be passing current date for your data transformation pipelines. Another useful scenario is to create reusable code pieces. So in many cases, when you are building your pipelines, you are dealing with similar transformations in regard to many tables. So it's not efficient to repeat all these transformations. It's much more productive if you create these transformations once and to kind of create your libraries and then refer to them from your transformations notebooks. Today we're going to explore different tools that are available within Fabric to make your pipelines dynamic. So we will explore nested notebooks features, so how you can call notebooks from other notebooks. We can also take a look at notebook orchestration, so how you call your notebooks from data pipelines, how you can build dependencies within your data pipelines with multiple notebook executions. Finally, we will also take a look at IPython widgets, which are a good way to make your notebook interactive and fun. Join me to learn more. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Fikrat. Here is a quick preview of what I'm gonna cover today. We'll start by parameterizing Spark notebooks. So we'll learn how to add parameter cells and use them within the notebook. Then we'll take a look at nested notebooks. So nested notebooks are a great way of creating reusable code pieces. So you can create libraries that can be referred from different notebooks. So we'll learn how to develop and execute and troubleshoot nested notebooks. Next, we're going to take a look at orchestration of notebooks from data pipelines. I'll demonstrate how to execute notebooks, how to supply parameters, and how to review execution results. Finally, we'll wrap up our discussion with exploring IPython widgets, which allows you to add interactivity to your notebook. So you can add different controls which would make controlling different variables within your notebook easy and fun. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe so that you could always receive latest of my videos. Let's jump into the demo. Alright, I am in Microsoft Fabric and I navigated to the silver Lakehouse that we created in the last lesson. And I opened the notebooks that we used during the last lesson. I made a few changes to the notebooks, which I'm going to describe shortly. But for those who had not had chance to see my last video, so I'll provide a quick recap. So these notebooks were reading from another lakehouse called Bronze. I was using one lake shortcut to refer to the tables, and then it was applying certain transformations that would be typical for silver and gold zone. And the results were written to few silver zone tables. The previous version of the notebook were using Spark table command to read entire table, which may not be efficient if you are dealing with large tables. So ideally, you would like to read only latest changed portion of the table on day-to-day basis if you are ingesting from large tables. So that's what my next command does. So instead of using Spark table method, here I am using SQL method, and I am providing SQL query for that. And as you can see, it is parameterized. So I need this p order date parameters so that it could read, so this query could read from beginnings from certain order date. Okay, now let me scroll up. So this cell assigns date value to p order date variable, and this can be used within the notebook. However, my goal is to supply this parameter from outside the notebook. That's why I'm going to convert this cell to parameter cell. So I'll navigate to top right corner of this cell, and we'll click this three dots, and we'll select toggle parameter cell. Now you can notice that we have parameters label here. So that means that any variables that are put here can be referred from outside the notebook. The value I am assigning here to this parameter is a default. So the real values will come from outside the notebook. Now let me run these two cells locally just to see how it works. Here's the result, and as you can see now, my results include only sales orders with the order date after January 1st, 2024. Now let me show you how to refer to this notebook from another notebook. So I'm going to create new notebook here. So we'll select create, select notebook, and important things that we need to add Lakehouse context. So I'm going to select add button and select existing Lakehouse. We'll select the same silver Lakehouse. Okay, and we'll remove this first comments that have been added by default. To refer to another notebook from within the notebook, you can use run magic. So I'm gonna use magic command. So if you remember, we talked in past about other types of magic. So we explored SQL magic, Python magic. So run magic is to refer to other notebooks. So as you can see, as soon as I put run magic, IntelliSense offers me list of notebooks available in my workspace. I'm gonna select this notebook called Dynamic Spark Pipelines, and from here I can specify parameters. So I can specify parameters using curly brackets, and then I'll need to have parameters name and values put as dictionary. So let me run this command. It will call that notebook and supply this parameter, and any data that's produced by that notebook will show up in this notebook. All right, now that we know how to call notebook from another notebook, let's see how we can orchestrate notebooks from data pipelines. I'm gonna navigate to my main notebook, and I can either create data pipelines from outside this experience and then show this and specify this notebook, or it's probably easiest way for that is to use run command and select add to pipeline command. I'll say new pipeline. I can assign the name to the pipeline. So that creates a new pipeline and adds a notebook activity to that. So let me inspect this notebook's settings. So if I select this activity and navigate to settings, so as you can see, the notebook name is already pre-selected, which makes it a little easier. And now I can come to base parameters and add a new parameter. I'll say my parameter's name is p or the date. For now, I'll select the string type and they will provide date value for that. Okay, so let me run this. Okay, so my pipeline execution has completed. So let's now inspect the results. So I can do that by navigating to output button, click output, and here you will find URL. So where the notebook has succeeded or failed, you will find URL here, and you can open that URL to inspect all the execution related data. So here we have few tabs. So the jobs tab allows you to see internal Spark information. So that will contain job information, job and the task level information from Spark side. So this screen could be good for performance tuning and troubleshooting. So logs tab contains all the driver logs, which also could be useful if you are running into some particular errors. And the data tab contains input and output, where you can take a look at your input data. And finally, I find most interesting item snapshots. So basically, you can navigate to your notebook, and from here, you can, let me hide this. So from here, you can see in execution status of individual cells and the values that they have produced. So that could be very useful, especially on development stage when you need to rerun your notebooks and inspect the results. Okay, so now that we know how to orchestrate the notebook from pipeline, so that gives us extra flexibility to create more flexible and more comprehensive pipelines. So in a typical lake housing scenario, you would probably have one notebook for bronze, another for silver, and another for gold. So let me simulate that situation. So I'll just add another notebook here. So I will call it bronze. And I'll select my notebook. I'm going to select the bronze notebook that we discussed on one of the past lessons. So this is going to be silver. So in this case, this notebook takes care of both silver and gold. But depending on your scenarios, you may have separate notebook for each. And then I can build dependency between these two notebooks. Let's jump into another fun topic, which is using widgets in your notebooks. Let me open another notebook that I created specifically for widgets. As I mentioned in the introduction, widgets are a great way to add interactivity to your notebooks. So basically you can take any variables, local variables, and assign them different user controls, which allows you to change values of these variables easily using interactive tools. So to use widgets, the first step is to import that library. So here is a library name, and once you import that, then you can call respective method. So my first command is calling inSlider method to produce control like this. So and then to show this, you have to use display command, which I am using here. So let me run this. Okay, now I can change this slider to some variable, and as I change, you can see that its value is displayed here, and now I can use this by referring to value attributes. So it's so this is what I show here. So let me print this. Now it shows the values that I assigned to this. So if I change this to something else and run this again, I have new value here. Okay, so let me show you another useful widget. So this one is to pick up date. So I am using date picker method for that. And here I am also providing description as an argument. So this is an argument that you can provide for any widgets. So let me run this. And here I can pick any date. So let's say this. And let me demonstrate its value. Now it shows dates that I picked in date format. Okay, so another useful widget is drop down. For that, you have to provide different options that needs to be part of this control. You can also optionally provide default value for that. So in this case, I am saying we use include 3 options and use 2 as default option. So if I expand this, I will see all these different options. Okay, so let's take a look at another widget. So this one allows you to show the display radio buttons. So I say like with drop down widgets, I need to specify different options here, and I can also specify default value, and here are my results. So I can choose any of these options. There are lots of different interesting IPython widgets. So I included link here. You may play with the different options and see what you like. Okay, so that concludes today's lesson. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in future videos.